back to my channel. My name is Carly Stevens. I'm the author of the young adult fantasy novel Firian Rising, and this is English Nerd. So today I wanted to share with you 20 things that you can do in 10 minutes or less. Most of these take 5 minutes to enhance your writing career. So I put these in order of where you are in your writing career. Basically, the first half of the list, even maybe a bit more than that, could pertain to anybody who's reading a book, or writing a book, rather. Anybody who's writing a book. Maybe you aren't a full-time writer yet, but you want to be serious about writing. And then as the list goes on, some of the items at the end are more for people who already have a few books out and have things like marketing to consider. So, without further ado, rapid fire. Things that you can do while you're in the carpool line waiting to pick up your kid. Maybe you're waiting to be picked up. You have 5 minutes to do something. It's not enough time to write a whole scene. What do? So, here are some options. Number 1, outline the next scene. This I found enormously helpful when I was writing the sequel to Firian Rising, title to be announced. I would just put in brackets the gist of what was going to happen. So I wasn't actually writing the scene, but I was setting myself up for when I had a longer amount of time, so I knew generally what happened in that particular scene. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to pin aesthetics. It doesn't get you any money, but it can get you inspired, and it can give you ideas for details about costuming and setting and all those things. So what I do is I have a section of Pinterest, which is just Firian Rising series aesthetics, and I have it separated out by place, so the characters who live in those places and the general feel of those locations. So, pin aesthetics. Number 2. I have my handy dandy list here if you wonder why I keep glancing down. It's hard to remember all these in a row. So number 3 is jotting down ideas for a blurb for your work in progress. If you don't have your book already out and you're working on one, then having a journal that you carry around is super helpful. If you have 5 minutes, write down some ideas about what you might want to have on the back matter of your book. What is the elevator pitch version of your story? So making some notes about that can save you some time later on. Number 4 is research a world-building question. We know, all of us know that we have these world-building questions that are really pretty specific, like when was macaroni invented, and how many doctors in the Middle Ages used leeches? Was it all of them? Or in fantasy worlds, what is are the seasons the same in that world as they are in our world? And there is just an enormous amount to do with world building. You know what questions you need to ask. Those are the things that you Google late in the dead of night. If you can just Google those things or do the research that you need, then one more thing ticked off your list. Number 5 is list 5 facts about a minor character. I don't do this as often as I should, but often what we do as writers is we'll focus on the main characters, the protagonist, the antagonist, the love interest, you know, those big tent pole kind of characters. But minor characters don't get as well developed. Sometimes they come in and they're just sort of cardboardy. So if you list 5 things about a minor character that may or may not show up in the story, but it gives a bit of background, things they like, things they do. I have found there are 2 characters in particular I can think of that have gotten more depth just because I did that. I didn't even list that many things, but having them have their own quirks and their own backgrounds really added something to the flavor of my story. So I would recommend you do that. It's also super quick, which is part of the evil plan of this whole video. Number 6 is read or listen to a chapter of a book. Most of us can read a chapter, at least a reasonably sized chapter, in 10 minutes or less, or if you listen to audio, just listening to that. Getting words inside your head can be so helpful in helping them to come out later on. So, especially if this is in your genre, it doesn't have to be, but if you read or listen to a book in the genre that you write, then it can be a great tool for you later on just to have those images and those ideas built up before you begin. Number 7, is list people for the acknowledgments. Not everybody includes acknowledgments at the end of their books, but if you plan to have an acknowledgments section, consider writing down the people that you might want to include in those acknowledgments in your journal that you are carrying around with you at all times, because that's what writers do. Number 8, download writing podcasts. I have taken a break from podcasts, not for any reason other than I've been picking up audiobooks and devouring them like a crazy person. But there are some short writing podcasts even that you can download. The one that I recommend that is the shortest, I guess, would be Writing Excuses. So go on to your podcast app if you have a smartphone. I have an iPhone, and there's automatically a little podcast icon there. Do a little research. Look up the Creative Pen. Look up the Self-Publishing Show, and just download a few of those for the future if you don't have time to listen to them now. Number 9, watch a video on craft. So this can be, it doesn't have to be on craft, it can be on marketing or whatever, but there are lots of YouTube videos just like this one that are intended to help you with every element of the writing process, from brainstorming to becoming a professional. So some of them are longer, but some are quite short. So do a search, see which ones come up, and watch a video on craft. Number 10. Make a to-do list so that you're ready when you have time. I know it's a little bit meta having a to-do list that includes to-do lists, but that is actually super helpful. When I just had 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it was more like 10 because I had thought of a lot of things, but I wrote down this entire list, and then when I had a few minutes right after school, because that's where I'm coming from, I could just hop right into what I needed to do without taking all that time to consider, okay, what are those items that I want to bring up in my video? And the same thing goes for writing. If you know that you need to fix that one scene, or you know that you need to contact those people, then just make a list so that you don't need to spend your precious time making that list before you begin when you have a longer, an hour or something to really get something done. So make a to-do list. Number 11, research keywords. So if you're planning to publish, self-publish especially, then you'll need to research keywords. And I'm still working on this myself. But keywords are how people find you on Amazon, for instance. You need to know what people are searching for that you want your book to appear as an option. So lots of ways that you can research keywords, but I would definitely suggest that you research them and keep lists of the ones that you plan to use, maybe the ones that are working for you, the ones that aren't, or if this is your first book, just a huge list of all the possibilities that you could include as keywords. Okay, number 12, post something on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. If you have just a personal account on those platforms or one of those platforms, then sure, you can use that. You can let people know an update about how your writing is going or what you're reading that day. But I would definitely suggest, if you have not done so already, that you choose a platform that you already like and start an author page. So I tried Facebook. I didn't really know what to post, so I let that lapse. But I have really liked not only YouTube, but also Instagram. So every day I post something on Instagram. It's always something bookish. It's always about what I'm reading or what I'm teaching or writing or, all that stuff. So if you want to have a built-in audience, even before you publish a book, I would suggest connecting with people over social media that way. So I already have, it's not like I've had crazy exponential growth like some people talk about, but I have almost 800 followers on Instagram now, and not every single one's gonna run out and buy my book or anything, but that's more people who knew about me than before. So the more I share my life, the more they get to know me and trust me and might try out my book someday. In fact, a couple of them have. So post on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Number 3, comment on other readers' posts. So interact with people who are already reading the things that you plan to write. Figure out what books are analogous enough that if they liked this book, then they'll probably like your book. So do a little bit of that research. Again, it can be 5 minutes worth of research, but do a little bit of that research and connect with readers who are already there looking for something new to read. Number 14, Research cover artists. If you're going the self-publishing route, you'll need to research cover artists. So the people who did my cover are at demonza.com if you're interested, but there are lots of other great places where you can get more affordable covers. I know that I've used one other cover design service as well. It's called 100 Covers, and that is not quite as high tech, professional as Firian Rising's cover, but they do a really great job for a much smaller price. So anyway, doing some of that research, 5 minutes, you'll get somewhere and it'll be good. Number 5, list possible beta readers and or just questions for the ones that are waiting for your next book. So everybody who writes a book should edit their book. They absolutely should. They should not send off their first draft, even if they're self-publishing. So one of the first places that you can get some feedback is from beta readers. So identifying people who read in your genre and who would be willing to give you some honest and helpful advice is great. In fact, that is something that I certainly could use my time doing right now. I'm looking for a lot more beta readers for Firian Rising Book 2. It's really the second book in the Tenuan Academy series, but I've been thinking about it as Firian Rising for so long it's hard to break away. So list those people, find those people. They might not be people that you know, they might be somebody that you'll meet over social media, for instance. That's cool. And I mentioned questions as well. It's good to not just say, here's my book, what do you think? It's good to have directed questions about, was this part clear? What characters do you like at this point? Something that they can actually answer with more clarity, both for themselves and for you. So there is another thought. Number 16, respond to comments and emails. So if you're getting comments on your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter posts, or you're getting emails, then you should respond to those. And that doesn't take very long, 5 minutes max, to most comments and emails. Number 17, so we're getting more into the marketing. If you couldn't tell, we're kind of past the writing 5-minute stage and on to some later items. Number 17 is to contact a book blogger. So there are tons of book bloggers all over the internet, and a lot of them are happy to give a review just for the price of a free book. But you need to figure out which book bloggers are going to have any sort of reach to your audience, and would they like your book, and would they be willing to do that, because not all of them will review your book just for that. Sometimes they have too many people coming to them asking. But anyway, contacting a book blogger, pitching your book, that is something that you can do. Number 18, check the status of your ads. If you're running Amazon ads or Facebook ads, see how they're doing, see what keywords are working, see what format your audience tends to gravitate toward, and adjust as necessary. Add a new campaign, scratch an old campaign, but make sure that you're keeping an eye on those so the money doesn't get away from you. Number 19, plan social media or newsletters. So if you know what you want to say, you have kind of a calendar of social media, then spend a few minutes and say this is what the pictures are going to be about, this is what the captions are going to be. Or if you have a newsletter list, which you should of some variety or another, having either preparing another newsletter, or if you're like me and you only have 5 minutes, just making some notes about what you might want to include in your next newsletter would be another good use of time. And then finally, number 20, contacting a bookstore for possible signing or just to connect with people who sell books. All right, that was it. That was my list of 20 things that you can do in less than 10 minutes to further your writing career. So even if you have a super busy life, even if you are a full-time teacher or a parent or what have you, maybe you're a full-time college student, you can do this if you make up your mind to do it and you take steps most days, even if they're very small steps. Some of these things are so simple, just reading a chapter of a book or pinning aesthetics or researching cover art. It doesn't need to be writing a chapter a day for you to move forward with something. So I hope this list was helpful for you. I'd love to hear a couple other options of things that you can do in less than 5 minutes to further your author career. If you have those, please put those in the comments below. Like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe to English Nerd if you have not done so already. And I will see you on Monday. Bye!